now, I say, beginning to get frustrated because he's beckoning to Mitchell to come in and have a fight. And that's the last thing what Mitchell needs to do. He's got to ignore all that nonsense and don't get sucked into it.
Body shot there from Mitchell as well, just trying to get Prescott's hands down. I think Prescott's really landed a punch yet, has he?
No.
Here he goes now with a couple of rabbit punches. And Mitchell just marches him back into the ropes, showing that he won't be boss 2 in this fight, as referee Dave Parris has a...
I don't know what Parris is already warned them for, but pulling each other onto the punch, I think. But I'll try to read the signs.
The more Prescott misses, the more he's going to be trying, and that's when he's going to leave himself wide open for Kevin's counter punches, and it'll work to a treat if he keeps making him miss.
Not only that, he wears him out.
Yeah, Mitchell just makes him miss there. Good defensive boxing from Mitchell. He does get caught with the right hand, but it was as he was making his way backwards. And the punch didn't have too much power in it for that reason. Prescott wings away. Mitchell goes with a left hand to the body. These big winging punches from Breidis Prescott. Fear of God into anyone. Mitchell's going to have to win this fight off the back foot, I think.
Good shot.
And Mitchell does catch him. His best punch of the fight.
Good left hook there by Mitchell.
A move from the crowd as Mitchell goes to the body again.
I think probably one each after that round.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget, Prescott was stalking and stalking and stalking. He's going forward all the time. And Mitchell was quite rightly on the defensive. Well, 2 rounds have gone. No harm done so far. But it's a tactical fight, obviously. And at the moment, Mitchell's tactics are absolutely right, just as David Hayes' tactics were right against Valuev, who was a very much bigger man. Although obviously we're talking a couple of inches here, or several inches here, with Prescott being taller than Mitchell, not nearly a foot taller, and certainly not 7 stone heavier.
Spot on though, it's the same kind of fight, isn't it? And the same kind of
well, tactics.
Wrist scenario.
And what's interesting is David Hay is here tonight at ringside, so he must be nodding approval as Mitchell takes evasive action.
We just saw the left hand there from Kevin Mitchell.
Now what? Perhaps has stopped the fight or something. I think somebody was standing up in Prescott's corner he didn't like.
Mitchell just in and out again. This is what he needs to do. He needs to keep his concentration for the full 12 rounds here. Yeah, that size difference though is so noticeable.
Prescott is desperately trying to cut off Mitchell's ring space, and he's throwing his arms out wide as if to say, come and fight me, come and fight me.
Well, we knew this was going to be the tactic from Mitchell. So far so good. He gets trapped on the ropes and has to duck out of the way. Prescott wails away to the body. Mitchell wrestles with him on the inside. Pushes him back into the ropes. The problem is for Mitchell, he can't really get close enough at the moment to get his punches off.
Well, Prescott would presumably start to slow down eventually.
One would have thought so. That's been the his last couple of fights, that's what's happened. Mitchell quite grateful that this is a...
I think Mitchell got caught with a body shot then. Yeah. Prescott saw that and tried to jump on him.
Now what's... Now,
well, Dave Parris is on Breidis Prescott's case. Not really sure what for at the moment.
Well, he's
good head movement,
hitting Mitchell round the back, but Prescott was trying to tell Parris that he turned his back on him. I think Prescott's got a point. He did turn his back on him.
The trouble is, if Mitchell does slow down, that's what happened against Carl Johansson. British title fight at the O2 Arena. Was that last year? Mitchell started that fight superbly. First 3 rounds he was all over Johansson. Outboxed him. And then just slowed down Kevin Mitchell. It's better from Mitchell. A good left jab. He's His first that's really landed in the fight.
He does look mean, doesn't he, Mr. Prescott?
He certainly does.
Seems to be getting frustrated quite a lot as well. That's going to burn energy as well. Him getting frustrated, swinging all these big wild punches. Kevin, beautiful defensive boxing there by Kevin Mitchell.
He's good at just turning that shoulder, isn't he, Ryan?
Yeah. That's exactly what he was doing right, and that's what he needs to do with these big swing coming over.
What's wrong with Parry? I think
he says I think he said, if I can lip read right, when I say break.
You know, Parry seems to be wanting to get in this fight as much as the two fighters.
It's been marginal, hasn't it? That's better from Mitchell. The right hand. Back comes Prescott, though. It's a tough ask, isn't it, trying to beat a man with a height and reach advantage from the outside?
Well, yes, at the moment.
How do you have that one, Colin?
Well, I gave it to Mitchell because he landed the scoring punches, whereas Prescott was missing. Prescott was going forward all the time, swinging away, but missing.
Mitchell made him miss quite a lot in that round. I've got it 2 to Mitchell, 1 to Prescott. So it's a very, very close fight, but Mitchell's game plan is working.
Mitchell hasn't started yet. I mean, Mitchell's he's doing the right thing. I would think another couple of rounds maybe, and then Mitchell really then ought to start to go to work and take the fight to Prescott. If he's got to take this, he's got to draw the sting out of Prescott, and so far so good. It's been 3 rounds, and maybe Prescott's stamina will start to wane a little the longer this fight goes on, because he is a very, very big man for a lightweight.
There's a lot of body of Prescott's as well, so Kevin can work that body and hopefully tire him out even more when he's working the body.
Yeah, he's got that long torso, hasn't he? Yeah. As we get underway here in round 4. So far so good for Kevin Mitchell. I think he would have taken this kind of start if he'd been offered it. If everyone thinks that after 6 rounds he's really going to get into the fight. Oh.
I mean, defensively he's boxing extremely well.
Is that Mitchell?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, he's making Prescott miss with those wild swings.
He's rolling brilliantly under Prescott's big wild punches. His head movement is fantastic at the minute.
That's been the problem in the past with Kevin Mitchell, maybe under Paul Cook and Johnny Eames.
Yeah, he's had head really stationary when he's been fighting. That's when he's caught a lot of shots and he's got into fights.
Mitchell just slowing down a little bit though in this round, and Prescott is wailing away. Mitchell covers up though. Jimmy Tibbs has got Mitchell in great shape, hasn't he? Would have had good sparring in the gym as well. Mitchell with a left hand to the body. The crowd like that. Prescott just told to keep his punches up.
Kevin needs to move just that bit more. He seems to be slowing down just a little touch. He needs to keep on his bike and making Prescott miss and counter his shots.
Almost as you said that, Ryan, he just sort of ran back, didn't he? Just got on his bike a bit more.
Yeah.
Prescott, oh, he's crude, isn't he? Too many of these are getting through.
Crude, but very dangerous.
Yep. He's got quick hands too, hasn't he?
Very quick. You can see one punch could turn this completely around, and hopefully Kevin, keep good head movement again by Kevin. He needs to keep this up. Good left hook.
Good left hook from Mitchell on Prescott's head.
Tell you what, having seen a bit more of Prescott, he was a dangerous pick for Khan, wasn't he?
Very dangerous.
No.
Obviously,
we didn't know that beforehand, but we.
No. But having,
54 seconds late,
we knew about it.
I know it sounds a stupid thing to say, but having seen him tonight, even he just looks dangerous, doesn't he? And Khan should never have been anywhere near him.
That's a good head movement there in the corner by Kevin Mitchell again. That's what he needs to do, and then turn him and leave him and let the referee break it.
And the crowd appreciate what Kevin's doing.
Now Mitchell, the first time on the front foot with a left hand. You'll probably hear the roar from the crowd as they roar again. And Mitchell's got to be careful not to get drawn in here, not to lose his head. No. The bell goes for the end of the 4th round.
Keep concentrating, that's all he's got to do.
Round 8 here in Newcastle. And it's been... Well, Prescott's been dangerous throughout the fight, but he's on our card, he's trailing by a mile. Mitchell just outboxing him. I think we've seen enough of Prescott to realise that he is dangerous though, Colin, isn't it?
Still a long way to go.
Yeah, this is going to be a good win if Mitchell does get over the line. I think Prescott's shown us enough tonight to, for this to be a good victory for Kevin Mitchell. Remember, the WBO lightweight title is held by Michael Katsidis. No stranger to these shores. He was involved in a thriller with Graham Earl at Wembley. It was a couple of years ago on an Amir Khan undercard. And that was an absolute classic. Body shot there from Prescott, and a right hand as well. That clipping right hand. That was the.
And Mitchell stood still then for the first time in the fight, and got caught with 3 shots.
Back he comes with a double left, including one to the body.
Jab again off Prescott. It's a fantastic jab, right? You see it register straight away when it lands.
A better round this for Breidis Prescott. And Mitchell's gum shields come out, I think.
Mitchell seems to be working that body a little bit more. There's plenty of body to work with, so Mitchell seems to be going for that body a little bit more.
It certainly is. Mitchell just misses with the right hand.
I think Prescott's had more success in this round than he's had since the beginning of the fight.
He has, but it's still good from Mitchell. He's just forced to hold on inside. A good right hand from Mitchell. Sorry, on the break. A minute left of this 8th round. Mitchell just trapped on the ropes, doesn't want to be there. This is where the stamina comes into play, all those miles and miles and miles of road work you do, all the sparring too. It's important, isn't it, Ryan, for Kevin to keep on his bike.
Very important.
See
very
that?
important.
He swung a right and then a left, and Mitchell ducked under both of them and went sailing over his head.
His defensive work's been at A1 today. He's rolling under each punches. Look at this, fantastic work by Mitchell as he gets Prescott on the ropes.
And Mitchell hears the crowd roar. He doesn't want to take too many risks though. You can't quite tell whether Prescott's just playing possum. I don't think he's there for the taking yet. And Mitchell just again does enough to nick the round. Prescott beginning to look something of a broken man as he goes back to his corner.
As he heads back to that corner, he's got his head down, he sits down in a slump. He's not a happy chappy at the minute.
2/3 of the way through the fight. And Kevin Mitchell's well on course for victory. You see some pictures backstage of Dimitri Salita just warming up ahead of his big clash with Amir Khan. And it was Khan, of course, who lost in just 50-odd seconds to Breidis Prescott. Kevin Mitchell has done much better than Khan. He's on course here for victory. Ahead on our card. I imagine he'd be ahead on the 3 judges at ringside.
Second round, round 9.
He should be.
But here we go, round 9. More of the same from Mitchell. Or can Prescott do some damage? Just a quiet 30 seconds there to open the round, and that would suit Kevin Mitchell, I think. It's up to Prescott really to try and force the pace now. He's behind on the cards, we think.
I know Kevin will be growing in confidence, but I just hope he don't try and change his game plan and think that he could, take Prescott out right now. I hope he sticks to his game plan you know, do exactly what he's doing, counter punching as Presscott comes on and throws his big shots, just like that, and roll off and move away. Brilliant by Mitchell.
It's just it's a brilliant boxing display, isn't it, this evening, Colin?
Excellent, excellent boxing.
It's funny how different fights please in different ways. Sometimes you can have a real quality tear-up, and it's a thriller and everyone goes home happy. Other times you just want to see an artist at work, don't you? And that can be equally as compelling and equally as watchable. The puzzle tonight for Kevin Mitchell was how to beat a big puncher, a man with a big reach and height advantage, and it'd be dangerous from the off. At the moment he's managed to unlock the puzzle. He's got the key to it so far, and probably only 3.5 rounds away from victory.
You notice that Prescott's not storming forward anymore like he was, or swinging as many punches as he was.
No, he's slowed right down, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I think the pace is set early on. I think it's telling now.
Well, it's being made to miss, and frustration sets in. He then gets a cut, and Mitchell, you know, is sort of countering him.
He's almost tamed the beast, hasn't he, at the moment?
Well, just then he was sort of not trapped in a corner, but he had his back to a corner, and Prescott let him get out without you know, mounting an attack.
Yep.
So he must be feeling, you know, feeling it in his legs as well, because he has done a lot of chasing.
Solid left hand from Kevin Mitchell, probably the best punch of the round. Ooh, from the crowd. Last 10 seconds here of this, the 9th round. A closer round.
Yeah, but
Mitchell's probably done enough though, hasn't he, Colin?
what has Prescott landed? Hardly anything.
Another round to Mitchell from
I mean, I could be completely wrong with this scoring, but I cannot give Prescott anything.
Mitchell just raised his hand there as he went back to the corner, waved to the crowd. And I imagine the confidence is rising. Noticeable as well at the start of the fight, the breaks between the rounds. Prescott was in Mitchell's face. There was a bit of afters after the first round, and I think maybe the second or third as well. Now Prescott just goes back to his corner, as quiet as a lamb, just resigned to his fate.
He's still working on the cup, but I didn't see any blood. I haven't seen any blood for a couple of rounds now from that eye.
Seems to have stopped the bleeding pretty well and done really well in the corner with a cut.
Here we go, round 10.
Shame it's not a 10-rounder, isn't it?
Mitchell would be delighted, wouldn't he?
Mind you, we're supposed to be impartial here.
He has been 12 a couple of times before, Kevin Mitchell, when he won the Commonwealth title against George Ashey. 12 that night, a couple of...
I think Ryan will tell us, I mean, as you get tired, your power goes, is that right, Ryan?
Yeah, your power's not always, especially when you're getting tired as well, and when you do try and chuck your power shots, you leave your defences open as well. So this is is probably the most important, apart from the first 3 rounds, this is probably the most important last couple of rounds for Mitchell, because obviously his tight's kicking in now. Prescott's still winging them powerful shots in and could take Mitchell out at any time.
He still looks dangerous, doesn't he, Breidis, Prescott?
He does, but Mitchell still looks strong.
He does. There's maybe just a hint in this round that Mitchell's just slowing down a little bit. Well, Prescott maybe getting a bit of a second wind as well.
There's a certain amount of tension in there when you know that the fella's throwing bombs at you, and you've got to make sure they don't land.
And add to that it's the biggest fight of your
He got
your
caught
life.
with a left hook then. Fortunately, he rode the punch, but I think Prescott's moving forward now because Mitchell has taken a bit of a breather. Either he's taken a breather or he's run out of gas a bit himself.
Well, often the Ryan, the 9th and 10th rounds can be tough, can't they? Because you're that far away from the finishing line.
They can be the turning point in any fight, no matter who you are. The 9th and the 10th round, you're going to feel the pace, no matter who you are. And just obviously we're just getting into the 10th round now, and Kevin does look like he's slowing down a little bit. He's not on his toes as much. Prescott's stoking and stoking.
I don't think Prescott can do much about it now, you know.
Well, that's the problem for him, isn't it? That there's, his stamina's beginning to fade a little bit as we go into the championship rounds down the stretch.
Now that was interesting. They got
Prescott
into a
holding.
clinch, and Mitchell was strong enough to push him back.
Yep. Good jab that from Kevin Mitchell now. Oh, Prescott backed up again. Prescott just turns his left shoulder. Crowd likes it. Oh, Mitchell wobbled.
Good left hook there by Prescott. Mitchell needs to keep under wraps, keep boxing and moving like he's doing now.
Mitchell you almost see him telling himself there to get back on your bike, get moving. Mitchell cannot underestimate Prescott for a second. That's the danger as well. If Mitchell ever thinks that Prescott's hurt, just wonder if Prescott's playing possum, trying to draw Mitchell in. Back comes Mitchell. Opens up the cut again. And the boos there are because Prescott almost...
I thought Prescott won that round.
Yeah, he went to raise his gloves after that round. Probably did enough, as Colin said, to win it. Has he done enough over the course of the evening, though?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I've given Prescott 2, maybe 3 rounds out of the whole fight so far.
So have I. But unfortunately, we aren't the judges.
We're not the judges.
I'll tell you what, though, if he wins this next round and the 12th as well, then it's going to put him close, isn't it?
Who?
Mitchell,
Prescott.
Prescott.
Closer.
Closer, yep. Some of those early rounds may have been difficult to score.
Yeah, it depends what the judges like. You know, obviously Prescott coming forward, swinging and trying and making the fight, but what was anything landing? What is the judges going to see?
Yeah, well, these aren't American judges.
Yeah.
They're British judges. Americans, they go big on aggression.
Aggression, yeah.
So here we go, down the stretch here. Championship rounds, 11 and 12 coming up. Can Kevin Mitchell, he's got
Has
6.
Prescott, has he ever been 12 rounds? He hasn't, has he?
I think he's been 10 before.
Yeah, he's never been 12, has he?
No. New
So
territory.
he's in new territory. Now what? Paris has stopped it again. What's that for? Some debris in the ring he didn't like.
I know. I noticed earlier there was a badge on Prescott's shorts that was coming loose.
Oh, really?
I don't know if it's that one of these WBO badge or something, or maybe it's maybe a Colombian flag, as he's got Mitchell trapped in Prescott's corner. It's just on a knife edge, isn't it? We keep saying it's so tense. Mitchell just keep concentrating. Oh, we're stopping again here now.
Something in the ring again.
Is it ice?
Ice. I think they put ice down Prescott's shorts. I think it's falling out.
I hope that's all it is.
Trying to keep him chilled.
That'd certainly wake you up, wouldn't it? A bucket of ice down the shorts. Maybe they're trying to get him wild. Might need to pull out a stoppage here. Breidis, Prescott, something special. And punches have got rid of Amir Khan. Oh, left hook from Prescott. It's every time Mitchell takes a risk. Prescott's there, looking to take advantage as his boxers faint in the neutral corner. Prescott,
I mean, he's
just made to
he's
miss
not
again.
moving like he was, Mitchell, is he?
Well, the problem is that he lands a punch and then he sort of takes a risk or two, doesn't he? And to land a punch, he's got to get into firing range for Prescott, and that's when Prescott can have some success.
When Mitchell's on his bike, Prescott cannot land, and that's what he needs to do. Get his jab and move, jab and move. Win the last couple of rounds just with his jab. Good shot there by
Lovely
Mitchell.
right hand from
Good
Mitchell. That was
counter right hand.
so well timed as well, just as Prescott was making his way in. He saw a gap.
You know better than us, Ryan. It looks easy from here, doesn't it?
It does.
Jab and move, jab and move.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. When you're in there, it's a completely different ball game.
Mitchell, he's really kept his head though, hasn't he?
Very much so.
You can see the concentration on his face.
A very mature performance.
coming-of-age performance, I think.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's got to do with Jimmy Tibbs as well, because he's a very, very good trainer. He's been around years, been with all the top fighters. So, good experience with Jimmy Tibbs.
It's reminiscent almost of Khan against Kotelnik earlier this year, isn't it? In that Khan had to think defensively that night, not get carried away, just take his time, and he managed to do that. Mitchell's done the same here. There's 15 seconds left of this, the 11th round. The checkered flag is almost in sight for Kevin Mitchell. He's going to go to the cards, I think, unless Prescott pulls out something special.
I hope so, because I can't see Mitchell knocking him out.
No.
I think that's also one drawback we've seen. He's now boxing at lightweight, and I don't think Mitchell can hurt lightweights like he could hurt super featherweights. From what we've seen tonight.
Yeah, he don't seem to have carried the power up to lightweight.
No, maybe it's because of the size of Prescott. That may have something to do with it. Yeah. He's punching up.
He doesn't look that big at the weight either, does he, Mitchell?
Well, no, he's a short guy, isn't he? He's not tall.
Yeah, I think
he's stocky.
Think of some of these big lightweights. Khan was much bigger, for example, wasn't he, when he was down at lightweight?
Yeah, taller and wider. Taller and wider.
John Murray's a big lad as well, the British champion, just about to challenge for the European title. John Thaxton too.
Right, this is it. 12th and last round.
Seconds out, 12th and final round.
Well, both boxers raise their hands and hug.
And embrace.
Yeah, a little kiss from Mitchell as well for Breidis Prescott.
Mind you, when they embrace, the closest they've been all night.
Sure is. We think Kevin Mitchell's 3 minutes away from a fairly stunning victory here in Newcastle.
Kevin just needs to keep boxing. He doesn't need to get involved at all.
Now, Prescott's reaction suggests he's been told you've got to knock him out.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you don't want Mitchell to take any risk, because you can see that he might want to please the crowd, because he's a crowd pleaser and a sort of very macho kind of fighter. I want to show everyone that his chin's made of good stuff. There's a time and a place for that. Maybe not now.
As I say, it's not over until the fat lazy sings, as they say. Remember Carl Froch and Jermaine Taylor?
Absolutely.
When Taylor was way ahead on points, and then with 14 seconds to go, bingo.
Well, you were telling me about Meldrick Taylor and
Chavez
earlier tonight.
3 seconds to go.
So anything can happen. Mitchell just has to keep concentrating here.
He can afford to lose this round and still win the fight, for me.
Yeah, we think he can, for the work that he did early on, and especially in the middle rounds as well, when he was so good. He Prescott up in the 7th, I think, 7th or 8th.
Do you know what? Prescott aimed 2 shots in. They were what I call tired punches.
Really tired, weren't they? He was almost falling into them.
Exactly.
Falling forward with
no power behind them whatsoever.
A left and a right as Mitchell ties him up. Oh, good shot from Mitchell, right hand. It's going out in style here. Mitchell finishing the fight well. He's just stuck and moved here, Mitchell.
Last minute, Mitchell just needs to box his way. Brilliant head movement in the corner. Prescott trying to pressure him, and he's chucking everything.
Yeah, Mitchell defensively good from start to finish. He's ending this fight as he began it. And a chance of easy go up from the crowd. He's boxing a long way from home tonight, Kevin Mitchell. Not as far, of course, as Breidis Prescott. This Newcastle crowd appreciating this fight. As we said, not the most exciting, not a shootout. It's been compelling. Now Mitchell with a little Ali shuffle, the crowd like that. Throws out the jab. Oh, Mitchell takes a right.
Every time you just seem to shiver.
Ryan Rose just shakes his head ringside. He can't quite believe it. 10 seconds left
to go. Come on.
And Kevin
Come on, Kevin. Grab him. Just hold him for 10 seconds. Turn him, leave him in the corner. Fantastic.
Mitchell finishes the fight with a good combination.
Fantastic.
Both boxers
exactly
hugging the ring. Prescott thinks he's got it.
No, Prescott just puts his arms up. I don't say he thinks he's got it. He's going through the motions. I think Mitchell thinks he's got it.
I think Mitchell probably has got it. Mark Tibbs lifts him in the air.
Mark Tibbs is delighted with that performance, and Prescott's cornerman went over and patted Mitchell on the head. I think as if to say, yeah, we know you won it, pal.
Promoter Frank Warren looks very happy as well.
Jimmy Tibbs is happy. The crowd are happy.
Tell you what,
everybody's happy except Prescott.
Some performance though from Kevin Mitchell if he does get this decision. Prescott was dangerous throughout the fight, wasn't he? Especially in the opening rounds.
An extremely interesting fight. And, as I say...
Well, I've seen a lot of Kevin Mitchell's fights over the last few years, and I think he's just brought something else to his game. He's proved he can control his anger, you know, and box and do what he has to do to win a fight, and that's exactly what he's done tonight. Fair play to Kevin, well done, mate.
Well, we haven't had the result yet. I've seen so many astonishing verdicts, but I'm sure this one can't be anything other than a Mitchell victory.
Well, it would be a big shock, wouldn't it, with a home crowd, 3 British judges. I don't want to put a slur on the judges, but it would be a big shock if Breidis Presscott did get this decision. It's come through relatively quickly, always a good sign. And I think MC Mark Bird is just switching on his microphone. We're not far away from this. Frank Warren comes over and gives Colin Hart the thumbs up. Says Kevin Mitchell used his brain. Now here's the result.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for 2 boxers who gave everything. After 12 rounds of boxing, we go to the scorecard. We have a unanimous decision. Judge Terry O'Connor, 119-110. Judge Victor Loughlin, 118-111. Judge Howard Foster, 117-111. The winner and the new WBO Intercontinental Lightweight Champion in the blue corner, from Birmingham, England, Kevin Mitchell.
Well, our scorecards,
ladies and gentlemen,
Ryan, have been vindicated.
The gallant Breidis Presscott.
One of the judges only made Mitchell lose 1 round. The other one 2. I made him lose 2 rounds. It turned out to be easy for Mitchell because he used his head, used his brains, and curbed his natural instincts to have a fight.